It's always fun to step up your card making and paper crafting projects when you can incorporate something such as a clear element. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use our Simon exclusive lightweight clear acetate in so many different applications. This lightweight acetate is offered in two different sizes. You have an 8.5 by 11 sheet option, which comes with 20 sheets. So if you like to utilize acetate often, you're going to want the big pack. We also offer smaller packs in half sheet sizes. So that means they're 5.5 by 8.5 inch size. And in that pack, you get 10 sheets. I recommend storing our acetate inside of our Simon Says Stamp cardstock storage sleeves. You'll notice every sheet of acetate has a piece of tissue behind it, and that helps prevent your acetate from not only sticking to each other, but also keeps the acetate from getting scratched while you're storing it. Let's talk about some of the ways you can utilize it. Of course, this acetate can be stamped on. You can utilize something such as StazOn ink, so any solvent-based ink like StazOn stamps beautifully and dries on the surface. You could also use embossing ink. I'm using our Simon Says Stamp embossing ink to stamp onto the acetate. I did prep the surface with a powder tool prior to stamping. And then with some white embossing powder, you can use any color you want. I'll sprinkle this over top of the stamping and then tap off any extra. Now when you heat up this acetate, you do want to make sure to get your heat gun really good and hot before you will bring it over to your acetate. This acetate, because of its lightweight nature, can warp very easily. Think about when you emboss vellum. So you do want to make sure you apply heat sparingly. If you need to emboss something a bit more complicated, I would recommend switching over to our premium acetate, which is much thicker. I have that linked below in the video description, as well as the lightweight acetate and all the products that I'm mentioning today. The thinner nature of our lightweight acetate makes it perfect for die cutting. Here I'm going to die cut this thanks sentiment, and now I could put this onto a card project. Because our lightweight acetate is heat resistant, you can also hot foil on it. I'm going to use our mini SLIMLINE confetti hot foil plate and a sheet of hot foil. I'll lay both my acetate and foil down onto my hot plate and then run this through my die cut machine to press the foil into the acetate. When I remove the excess foil, you can see how beautiful the foiling is on top of this acetate, and the acetate did not warp, so it's perfectly flat. You could use this as a shaker card front, an overlay, so much more. Speaking of shaker cards, our lightweight acetate is fantastic for using behind shaker windows. Or you can skip adding the sequins and just make it a clear window. Here I have a panel that I am turning into a shaker card, and I'm just using Terrific tape from our Simon Says Stamp collection to attach the acetate onto the cardstock. Then I created a well with some foam tape, and I'll attach my background over top of the sequins that I placed inside. And now you can see our beautiful sequins floating around inside of our crystal clear acetate. You could then glue a sentiment that you made, such as the thanks greeting that I just showed you earlier, and attach it down onto your shaker window. I like to hide my adhesive behind any of the solid stamped areas to make sure that the adhesive doesn't show through when I attach this down onto my project. You can also utilize this acetate for alcohol inked techniques. I love being able to utilize clear elements like this for an overlay or a shaker window. Here I'm going to mix up some different alcohol inks and some mixatives to create a wispy, colorful background. You can utilize isopropyl alcohol or blending solution to move the colors across your acetate. I'm also utilizing the Tim Holtz alcohol ink blower to move the colors around. If you add the white mixative like I have here, some of your areas will be more opaque than others. I also added some gold mixative at the end, and I'll move it around with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to get a very beautiful metallic wispy finish. Now you could utilize this piece on a project as either an overlay, a transparent window, or you could die cut this with different shapes to create beautiful elements on your cards. Speaking of card overlays, you can easily score this acetate, and that will allow you to create overlays on top of something that you've already made. So here I'm going to take this overlay that I'm creating, and I've made it just a tad bigger than the cards so that I can fold the top edge over my background panel and allow this to be sandwiched between my background panel and my card. This way you won't see that extra acetate on the backside of your project. It hides it and creates a seamless, clean look. So I'm going to attach this with some Terrific tape onto my background. Now you can see we have our overlay. And then on the background, I'm going to add more adhesive and glue it straight down onto my card. So now that tab of acetate is sandwiched between my background panel and the card base. And so now it's seamless, it's clean, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. On top of this overlay, you could add elements or sentiments, and I'm going to use a sentiment here to illustrate that. You can utilize almost any adhesive on our acetate, including little foam squares, foam tape, liquid glue, and more. Our lightweight acetate has so many options for you to add creative elements to your card making and paper crafting projects. I hope that this quick tip was helpful, and be sure to leave any questions that you have in the comment section below. All the products that I mentioned today are listed in the video description, so be sure to check that out if you're looking for any of these items. Thanks for watching!
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.